Nick Clegg is Deputy Prime Minister and leader of the Liberal Democrats and says his is the party of in. Nigel Farage is the leader of the UK Independence Party and is equally unequivocal. He wants out. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Nick Clegg and Nigel Farage.
This debate is about you. And it's really simple, because it's about your job. Or if not your job, the job of someone else that you know. And it's about making sure that the sacrifices that you have made to fix our economy aren't wasted. Because, make no mistake, if we cut ourselves off from Europe, from the countries that we trade with more than anyone else, then our hard-won economic recovery will simply be thrown away. It's also about who we are. A Britain that leads in the world by standing tall in our own European backyard. A Britain prepared to work with other countries on the things we can't possibly sort out on our own. So don't let UKIP or anyone else put all of that at risk. We're better off in Europe, richer, stronger, safer. And that's why I will fight to keep us in, for the sake of jobs, for the sake of our clout in the world, for the sake of Britain.
We're having this debate. At last, it's taken a very long time. Just imagine, though, we weren't debating whether we should stay or leave. Just imagine we were debating whether we should join the European Union. And I put it to you that what we ought to do is vote yes in a referendum to join a club that will cost us £55 million a day as a membership fee, that will give us thousands of new laws over which our own Parliament and you, the electorate, can make no difference. It'll mean an open border, unconditionally, to 485 million people from across the whole of Europe, many of them from very poor countries, and they can come here and work and live and settle and bring their families and do as they wish. And it would also mean that we would have to cut our links with other parts of the world, the Commonwealth, the Anglosphere, and many other parts of the world, because we'd lose the ability to make our own trade deals. I know the result of that referendum. You wouldn't join it. The debate here today is between a tired status quo, defending a crumbling European Union that frankly isn't working anymore, and a fresh approach which says, let's be friendly with Europe, let's trade with Europe, but not be governed by their institutions.
I wonder if I can read you the words from a very prominent politician back in 2008. It's time to give the British people a real referendum on Britain's membership of the European Union. And there we are, there's a very fresh-faced, carefree politician there in that poster. Why are we still waiting?
Well, if everyone can read the small print, which I suspect you can't, what it said... No, I don't mean the small print, I mean in the leaflet. What it said was, at the time we were debating a new change in the rules, which is exactly what I was just referring to with Deborah. At the time in 2008, there was a new treaty, the Lisbon Treaty. This is the treaty where, as Nigel Farage rightly points out, the Conservative Party changed radically their attitude towards it. I had exactly the same view in 2008, 2009, 2010, namely, when the rules change, when new things are asked of you, powers which rightly belong to you, then it is your decision in a referendum.
But the trouble is, you're defining transfer of powers in terms of treaties. There is a possibility that actually there won't be any treaty change. Because, in fact, what's happened since your beloved euro has gone into a tailspin is, without using treaties, they've managed with the Eurozone countries to acquire yet more power at the centre. Sure. And surely, there is a very urgent need to have this. This isn't flippant. And everybody in this room, over the age of 55, and I bet there are many in this room who voted as my parents did, yes, but they voted yes to a common market. So,
I've got here a leaflet from Nigel Farage. Can I just finish the point? This is a leaflet that Nigel Farage's party distributed in the recent Eastleigh by-election. You may remember it. It says here that 29 million Romanians and Bulgarians may come to this country. There aren't even 29 million Romanians and Bulgarians living in Romania and Bulgaria. It is simply not true. So, Let's have this debate, John, but let's have it based on fact. Let me give you one more fact. 1 out of 7 of every new company created in this country are created by people who come here, pay their taxes, play by the rules.
You didn't answer the question. You try to do trickery with the 29 million, saying there aren't 29. You know why? Because 2 million have left already. And they've gone to Italy and to Spain. Nick, you didn't answer the basic question. I'm not claiming 29 million people have the right to come to Britain.
Yes, you do.
I'm claiming 485 million people have the total unconditional right to come to this country if they want to. And I think you're quite right. You're quite right. The fact is, if we're members of the European Union, we have the complete free flow of people. Are you denying that?
Yes, it is not unqualified.
You are denying
It is not the case that anyone can move to this country and simply claim benefits, simply
Didn't mention benefits. You keep doing benefits. We're talking about the free movement of people.
Well, I don't understand. In pursuing the withdrawal from the European Union, we would make our country poorer if we did what UKIP said.
The jobs would go. Nigel Farage.
Well,
they would go. The jobs would go.
Foreign direct investment is an important point. It is a key point. And I so well remember, Nick, you and all your gang, all the big corporates, all telling us 12 years ago that if we didn't join the euro, remember that? If we didn't join the euro, all investment into Britain would cease, the City of London would disappear, and all I can say is thank God we didn't listen to you. Otherwise, we'd have been in one hell of a mess.
My view is we shouldn't be sacrificing a single job just to fulfil this dogmatic view that we should turn our backs on the rest of the world and on Europe. 3 million jobs is 3 million pay packets, is millions of families in this country being able to pay their bills, which they otherwise wouldn't. And that's why this is, at the end of the day, about jobs.
When you answer that, once again, Nick, you just show you don't really understand the worlds of commerce and trade. Do you know, when the World Trade Organization meets to discuss global trade, the British representatives are shown the door and asked to leave. Yeah. The world's 6th largest trading nation, the world's 8th largest manufacturing nation, is not allowed to be present in the room.
It's not true.
Because we're members of a European Union, so we have to be represented by a Dutch bureaucrat whose name no one knows and who nobody can vote for. A quite extraordinary state of affairs. We are banned, forbidden from making our own trade deals, with countries like India or Canada or Australia or New Zealand. People who would, at the drop of a hat, sign trade deals with us. We are prevented from doing so. And the reason is, people like Nick don't think Britain's good enough. We're just not good enough.
Unlike Nigel Farage, I actually, before I went into politics, was involved in these trade negotiations. It is simply not true, what you've just heard. How on earth is it possible for UKIP to claim it is somehow patriotic to make our streets less safe?
Right. Well,
how on earth is it possible that you can claim that somehow you're standing up for Britain if you would not actually extradite and bring back hundreds of people to face British justice?
This really gets to the heart. This really gets to the heart, doesn't it, of the differences between us. And by the way, I don't agree with Nick.
I've heard that before somewhere.
Nick, we signed our first extradition treaty in this country in 1174, 850 years ago. We currently have extradition treaties with 92 different countries all over the world. Yes, we have to cooperate on cross-border crime. We do it through extradition treaties, and we do it through organisations like Interpol, which we've been working in since 1923. All right? I, of course, want us to have sensible extradition laws, not just with the EU, but all over the world. You get arrested in Spain for something you haven't done, you may be left up to 18 months in prison without even facing a charge. We have a system of common law in this country. We've had it for 800 years.
Why did you vote against measures to help British tourists?
It is based on the presumption of innocence before guilt. It is based on habeas corpus and common law. We must defend the principles of liberty, freedom and justice in this country.
We should all defend the rights of British citizens. Why did you not do it?
I have not voted.
Mr. Clegg, I'm moderating this debate. Thank you.
I have not
Would you
voted.
like to respond to a question that was put twice?
I've been in the European Parliament now 15 years. They're getting a bit cheesed off of me over there, I've got to tell you. And I have not voted in 15 years for one single piece of legislation that has added to the power base of the European Commission in Brussels.
Even when it means British tourists who get caught up on the wrong side of the law when on holiday, who need translation, they need help, they need lawyers, they need assistance. Why is it that UKIP dogma is so strong now you won't even help British tourists when they're on the wrong side of the law? Actually, the House of Commons has shown that roughly 7% of all new laws are related to the European Union. But they do need to be there, that 7%, in order to make sure that you, or indeed anybody else who's exporting into the rest of the European Union, can do so without fear that the rules are somehow going to work against you.
Thank you, Mr. Clegg. Nigel Farage.
Oh dear, oh dear.
You've used some seconds up. I'd hurry up if I were you.
What are you on about? We had one of your friends from Brussels, Commissioner Viviane Reding, in London the other week, saying we must all sign up to a United States of Europe and we must recognise the importance of Brussels because, after all, it makes 70% of our laws. Even Gordon Brown said over half our laws are made in Brussels.
So if you believe, as I do, even if you haven't voted for the Liberal Democrats before, but if you believe that we're better off in, then at least on this occasion, on May the 22nd, in the European elections, I hope you will give us your support. Thank you.
Mr. Clegg, thank you. A minute for you. Thank you.
Trade with Europe, cooperation with Europe, friendship with Europe. But I'm British. I believe the best people to govern Britain are the British people themselves. And I believe that by divorcing ourselves from this failed project, not only will we free Britain, we'll provide a good example for much of the rest of Europe. We're going to fight damned hard in the next few weeks and put that choice on the ballot paper for you on May the 22nd.
Nigel Farage, thank you for that. And that is all we have time for. I'm sorry.